Oh, well that video did well. Hey guys, welcome back to another installment in my seasonal videos. This time we're talking about everything I like during summer. If you're here from the Deltarune video, thanks for sticking around, I appreciate it. I swear to god there's gonna be another Deltarune video coming out soon, you just gotta stick with me. For this episode we're gonna have no video games. I played Metal Gear Solid 1 and Underswap, but I don't have much to say about either, and that's like the only two video games I played this season, so we're just not doing any this episode. They were both pretty good if you're wondering. Anyways, this series just consists of things I was really into and can act as a series of recommendations for you to check out. Alright, let's get into it, starting with the shows. So during summer break, I pretty much paused every show I've been watching, which at the moment is 9 shows, so I really gotta catch up during fall. Anyways, because of that, I didn't actually finish any shows this season. I figured since I also have no video games in this video, I gotta include at least one show. And I have gotten back into Smiling Friends since season 3 got announced, so I might as well talk about it in this video. I didn't actually rewatch the show, so this would just be my brief thoughts. I thought Smiling Friends was very good when I first saw it, but it's really grown on me. This show is really funny and really entertaining. There are so many niche elements of Smiling Friends that really add to the show. I love how many YouTuber cameos there are, like Chills or Doug Walker. I also love the running joke throughout Smiling Friends where the characters just have really natural, slow dialogue. Like, the show is always so fast paced, so the fact that there are so many moments like this in these 11-minute episodes are really bold and really funny. For characters, I'm a fan of pretty much all the fan favorites like Charlie, Pim, Alan, the boss, and of course Mr. Frog. Overall, this is just an unbelievably entertaining show with some really great gags and some really awesome styles of animation. Some of my favorites off the top of my head are Mr. Frog, the Gwimbly episode I Don't Want to Say, and Alan Adventure, and Frowning Friends. My favorite from the show so far is probably the Gwimbly episode, simply because of how incredible the visuals in that one are. Anyways, go watch Smiling Friends. The entire show in its entirety might be around 2 to 3 hours, so it'll be really quick and it's a really fun watch. Okay, see you, bye bye. I've had a bit of a rough relationship with this album. I didn't think Godstain was anything crazy when I first heard it, and I wasn't as crazy about Foregone as everyone else. However, since Foregone's release, both singles have grown on me significantly, and with the addition of Monday, which I already thought was great, I was extremely excited for the 4th album from Quedeca, Vanisher Horizon Scraper. And then all my expectations were completely shattered on this album's release. This is one of the best albums I've ever heard, and I am seriously considering doing an entire song ranking for Quedeca because of how good this was. Before I talk about the actual album, I might as well talk about the visual movie. This is most likely why Vanisher took so long to come out. The sheer scale of this movie was an incredibly ambitious project and almost all of it landed. If the I Didn't Mean to Haunt You movie had a visual project on this scale, I think it would have been a 10, just because of how great I Didn't Mean to Haunt You's narrative is. I still don't think Vanisher's narrative is on the level of I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, but the scope of this movie makes it crush I Didn't Mean to Haunt You by a landslide. For issues with the movie, I didn't find every music video to fully work. The real incredible moments in this movie are the 3 singles, Casper, The Great Bakanawan, and Thunder. Those all look incredible and fit the vibes of the song perfectly, but everything else isn't anywhere near as crazy. They're still good, don't get me wrong, but they can occasionally be a little bit dry. Anyways, the music itself is incredible. I don't fully get the narrative of this yet, so instead of going track by track, I'll just cover my least favorite songs to the best. For me and most people, I Dream About Sinking is the weakest track on Vanisher because it's an interlude. I really like how it transitions into the second half of this album, but I think Natural Causes fits into the same meaning pretty well, and I generally think this song could have been cut. That's why, and at a time like this, are both great tracks that unfortunately have to compete against some of the best music ever made. They're still both great and really powerful, but they both say the least in my opinion. Waging War is a beautiful second track, Ruin My Life is a great follow-up to Waging War, Godstain is a great single that excels with its fantastic rap verse at the end, Natural Causes works extremely well as a middle point in this album, and also holds a really eerie vibe. The Great Bakanawan is an incredible track with a great Danny Brown feature that is held back a bit by some issues. Quedeca has some really goofy bars, and Danny doesn't do nearly enough to fully sell this song. I wish we went in the direction of House Settling and had Danny Brown as the final or middle verse. Okay, let's move on to the real standouts of this album. No questions asked, this is easily the most underrated track on this whole project. My jaw dropped when I heard this for the first time. It's such an insane, beautiful opener and instantly sells what this album is going to be about. Monday is just as incredible as when I first heard it. Dancing Without Moving is a real banger that holds a lot of meaning. And lastly, we have Foregone, which ended up being my favorite single after hearing it in the context of this album. It's a really beautiful ballad with some incredible writing. The last 2 tracks on Vanisher are around the same in quality and are both absolute masterpieces. Casper is a close second second place and the objective best song in the whole album. It's just such an insane album finisher. The monologue from this seemingly higher entity works so well to recap the narrative, and that ending with the sinking in and out of water is some jaw-dropping production. Everything ending with Quedeca drowning is such a perfect way to wrap this up. Still though, despite how good Casper is, my favorite track from Vanisher is Thunder. I had a suspicion Quedeca would try to sneak in a hardcore rap song like Knots, but I would have never predicted something to this level. Thunder just might be my favorite Quedeca song to date. The fact that nothing else on this album even gets close to the absolute insanity of this track is what really elevates it. It really comes out of nowhere and is the most memorable song compared to everything else. Coupled with the insane black and white music video, and this ended up being my most memorable experience on the entire album and my favorite song on Vanisher. Vanisher legit has no bad or decent tracks. The entire album ranges from very good to legit masterpieces. It's near perfect and easily in the top 5 best albums I've ever heard. It's my album of the year, and I don't think anything is gonna top it. Easily Quedeca's best album, and if I counted it, this would honestly be the best film of the year so far. I watched Superman when it came out, but I was pretty burnt out on reviews, so I didn't review it. That's pretty unfortunate because if I did review it, it would be one of my most positive reviews this year because damn, Superman is great. I really like James Gunn. More specifically, I really like the Guardians of the Galaxy films, but after watching Superman, I really gotta check out more of what he's done. Lex Luthor rules in this. He's pretty much a petty racist, and his spite and anger towards Superman is so fun to watch. Nicholas Hoult does a fantastic job playing this little snake. He's able to sell a calm, collected, savvy businessman while also making him an irrational, angry mess. Lois and Superman are both great too. Lois does a shocking amount to advance the plot, and Superman is able to be characterized as an irrational and imperfect human while also still being an extremely likable hero to look up to. He saved a squirrel. Come on. The boldest thing about this movie that proved this was a James Gunn film was its message in politics. This is a film about immigration and peace, specifically the hope for peace in the Gaza genocides. The scene of the kid raising up the Superman flag in the battlefield gave me full-on chills, even though it's such a simple message. Despite the situation seeming impossible, these people are still holding out for Superman to save them. It's a simple message, but its flawless execution is what makes it excel. The score and directing during this scene is perfect, and it holds a more layered message. In real life, we don't have a Superman, and this scene calls for us to act as that Superman now. I do think the Justice Gang showing up instead of Superman took away a bunch from that message, but it still kind of works as a group of people acting as Superman, although I still really wish it was Superman that saved them, because come on, it would have been so good. I do think one of my bigger issues with the film was the Justice Gang. I don't know, I didn't love them that much. Mr. Fantastic is pretty good, but the other two aren't anything crazy. Overall, Superman is a great, extremely entertaining movie with a great message. As always, James Gunn is a genuine legend. I wanted to talk about Toy Story 3 for a couple reasons. For one, a recent 3-part or 6-hour-long video on Toy Story 3 by Gaming Magic 13 came out right around the time I rewatched this film, but I also just wanted to talk about Toy Story 3 because it's like really, really good. Toy Story 3 is easily one of the most creative Pixar films. They expand on the Toy Story universe in so many new creative ways. The idea of a daycare being used as a prison system for toys is just so good. How did they even come up with this? The prison system for Sunnyside Daycare is so well thought out, and seeing all the toys break out of it through an extremely elaborate plan is so fun and engaging to watch. I also think Toy Story 3 is a really good drama about growing up. Andy's story of letting go of his toys and moving on is extremely strong and relatable. The people who saw the original Toy Story as kids would be adults around this film's release, so this angle of making Andy grown up is super inspired and probably added so much to the emotional impact of this film when it came out. Andy's arc ends on one of the most obvious best moments in this movie, which is the ending where he gives his toys to Bonnie. This scene is definitely emotional, but what really worked for me was the last shot of the camera panning up to the clouds, mirroring the opening of Toy Story 1. I am such a sucker for films or franchises that end on a loop. I think it's such an effective tool to make a movie ending more memorable. Yeah, so Toy Story 3 is amazing. I already kind of knew that in the back of my head, but revisiting it and also watching 3 hours of that 6-hour long Gaming Magic video really brought that love out again. It's definitely my favorite out of the trilogy and is obviously better than the fourth, though Toy Story 4 is still quite good.
All you wanna do, baby, is touch me, love me, can't get enough.
Alright, why not? Let's throw in musicals too. I've been trying to get into musicals more. I really haven't seen enough, and most have been pretty local and obscure. But if I have the chance, I'll try to talk about them on this channel more. Six takes a lot of inspiration from real history, specifically the story of King Henry VIII and his 6 wives. This play is on these 6 wives competing for who was the best, and as we go through the play, we get a separate tone and song for each wife. What's so impressive is how they're able to make each song for each wife so unique and different, by basing it off what each wife was actually like in real life. I've been trying to write a film with the same idea, so seeing it executed so well here was really inspiring. That being said, the first wife is definitely the worst. She's pretty much just a blueprint for everyone to build upon, and I didn't care for it all too much. 2 and 3 are where stuff gets really good though. James' second wife being this really silly childish character is really fun, and her song is easily one of the best in the play. It's super whimsical and silly despite being about her execution. James' third wife is still probably my favorite in the whole play. It's absolutely beautiful and emotional. She actually loved James, and hearing the story about her having to leave him and her child is just so sad. It almost made me cry, and it's easily the main highlight of 6. After this, the ball keeps rolling. 4 is also very silly and goofy while having the unique twist of containing 2 songs, while 5 has the best storytelling in the entire play. The reuse of the chorus to convey desperation is super impactful. It's a really emotional song while also being an absolute banger. Definitely one of the best in the musical. Finally, 6 has a very self-aware song where they acknowledge how messed up it is for all 6 wives to compete for who was the most traumatized by James. And this leads to a great ending where all 6 wives realize that what made James so special in the first place was them. Such a smart, effective way to wrap up this musical on a really positive note. I don't know, I just really love this. 6 has a super creative, fun idea based on pre-existing history and executes it really well, while also providing a really strong message on self-worth. Check it out if you haven't. Alright, let's keep the seasonal trend of online rap battles going. The Spot vs WD Gaster isn't recent, but I revisited it recently and really loved it. They are able to write so many great lines for Gaster, a character who literally has no dialogue in his game. Still, despite having so little to work with, they deliver some killer lines. A real standout is,
I thought the fix for your ego could fix my condition, but they're both shattered beyond repair.
Gaster probably won the battle. I feel like the battle itself is designed for Gaster to win though. He doesn't really care at all about anything Spot says, and Spot completely loses his mind just off a couple of disses. Plus, Spot dies at the end, so I feel like Gaster just wins this. No discredit to Spot though, he definitely has the best verse in the entire battle. Before we get into that though, let's cover his first verse. JT Music saying "How is the fall" actually invoked my childhood. Plus, he's got some really good digs that unfortunately don't land super hard since Gaster's a character with very little to work with. The first verse from Spot is quite good, but the second is the standout of the entire battle. The changing styles of animation are on a studio level budget and do a really great job capturing Spider-Verse. Plus, that final section of him just going insane after he finds Gaster is so effective. I do think this is limited a bit by Gaster being such a minor character, but yeah, this is another great rap battle from Freshly Canal. Watch it if you haven't.
You thought I hit your mom? Call somebody, please. I'm sorry. Call somebody.
Okay, look, I love Isaac Y, and I needed to find some way to eventually talk about him and his videos. Last to leave VC5 for a while was one of my most anticipated things coming out. It was right up there with Doubtstrune, and getting them both in 2 months was such a good feeling after waiting for the painful 9-month Isaac Y drought. Okay, the Doubtstrune wait was obviously way longer, but Isaac handled this so poorly. He implied it would come around March only for it to drop in July. And I'm gonna be honest, Last to leave VC5 didn't meet my expectations. This video is great and has some really funny bits, but it's definitely not my favorite Lastly VC. The second Lastly VC is still so consistent and funny, and Lastly VC 4 low-key still feels like it has a higher scope, featuring like 30 people. The biggest problem with this video was honestly the runtime. 7 hours of Lastly VC was super exciting when I first heard about it, but this video really doesn't justify its runtime. This is just the same as any usual Lastly VC, but extended for far too long. So much could have been cut, at least an hour. Plus, the lack of Yummy is really noticeable, and it makes some parts of this video feel really off. This still has the highest highs of these videos though. The ending Uno game was so stressful, and the instant elimination round / black market challenges were so much fun. Also, it's hard to explain why these videos are funny, but come on. King of Pranks getting shot dead and Nick losing to a staring contest in 6 seconds are the funniest things ever. Also, ending on Dad Y was such a great way to wrap this up. Yeah, I'm starting to realize it's hard to talk about Isaac Y videos because I just end up rambling about how funny they are, but like, they're really funny. I might find some way to talk about Isaac Y more in the future, but yeah, it's to wrap this up, lastly, VC5 was really good. 2 and 4 are better in my opinion, but this was still great. Excited for new videos with Yummy. And that was the video. Right now, looking at the script, this will probably be a short one, so sorry about that, I guess. Fall will probably be a lot bigger. If you didn't see the post, some things on this channel are changing again. I'm gonna be uploading mostly longer videos that are more spread out, just so I have more consistent quality throughout my videos. I realized spamming mediocre videos kinda killed the channel, and they weren't all that fun to make. That means M&A is on permanent hiatus. I might bring it back if my audience builds up enough, but those videos were doing awful, and I really started losing motivation for the series. Anyways, I have 2 bigger videos coming out that might take a while, so I might be dead until around November. Just to tease what they are, one of them is another Deltarune video essay, and one is another musical artist ranking I've been meaning to do for a bit. I'll see you then, in November, probably. I don't know how long these will take. See ya, this is an epic outro.
Wow. Really?